This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a massive warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. My name's Lee Keys of systembet.co.uk, and joining me tonight is my absolute all-star cast tonight, John Lang, as usual, from John Joe's Blogspot. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
Good evening. And the two crack tipsters at the top of our naps table, the only two possible winners to lift the trophy, are Quentin Franks. Good evening, Quentin.
Evening, Lee.
Good evening, good to have you back. And Neville Ender, racehorse trainer and professional punter, who is chasing Quentin in the naps table and likely to fight out the finish to this national hunt season. Good evening, Neville.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. In blistering form, these two, me and John, just here to make up the numbers and tip some rubbish as we try and catch these two. But hopefully we'll provide some good insight for the meeting at Sandown, the Imperial Cup meeting. And nice to see some flat action back, chaps, on the all-weather. The 3 all-weather meetings, and we've got Wolverhampton with the Lincoln Trial, etc. Are we excited on the road to Doncaster?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, they're flat as scared as they can.
Yesterday, I went to Southall yesterday, and if that's anything to go by, stick it where the sun don't shine. It was...
Blasphemy, blasphemy.
Don't you like Southall then, Nev?
There was nobody there, no atmosphere at all. 8 races, 4 of them classifieds. Is that what we've got to look forward to?
Well, I hope not. But I mean, we're going to get some really rancid meetings in April as usual, on soft ground. But as soon as we get to the Dante, that's when it all starts to blossom for the summer. That's when I get excited. It's the spring meeting for John. John likes the spring meeting at Newbury. He loves that one. But yeah, for me, it's all about the guineas and the Dante. But anyway, we'll crack on because we've certainly got a busy show ahead. And before we go to our best bets, I'd just like to announce we are not doing the normal Sunday sermon. We are doing a Monday sermon, and it will be me, myself, Catherine Fry, John Lang and Lorne Malvo doing the sermon, the big Cheltenham preview, and all our contributors are doing their 3 best bets as well, which will be pre-recorded, etc. So you get everything on this sermon, which will be a bonanza as we start the festival next week. Okay, on to the best bets, chaps, our 3 best bets. And I'll start with you, John, first for your 3rd best bet of the weekend, please.
Regulars will already be familiar with disappointment with this one. Remember Royal Aviation that we were with last time, spunk the start, never looked like winning. We'll probably have a jog round for a handicap match tomorrow, but I'm not letting it run loose at 16-1. It's in the 221 at Lingfield.
221 at Lingfield. Yeah, that was the one where we said after, me and John were in a private chat and we said, that looked like a complete spin, and it was. For Kelly Philippe de Foy, Sean Levy in this. Yeah, Royal Aviation, the American Pharaoh. You like American Pharaohs, John?
I do, yes. On this kind of surface, I wouldn't be gagging to back one in the Dante, but this will do for here.
Okay, so on the nose, 1 point win, 16.
I'm afraid so. It'll either piss up or have a jog around the back, won't it?
Right, that's what you've got. 1 point win for John. That's 3rd best bet. Coming on to my 3rd best bet to leave the 2 warm guys to come goes in the 131 at Wolverhampton. We've got all the strange race times tomorrow, sadly, with the 8 meetings available for us to have a go at. But this is the first televised race at Wolverhampton, and I'm with 1 point win on Asad Jumeirah, trained by Anthony Britton. This is a very progressive horse, and I'm confident that by the end of the year, this horse, a bit like with his Mondom Edge, I think he'll get this one right up to 3 figures. I think he's done a really good job with this. It came from Owen Burrows. It's very steadily progressive. It's recorded some good figures and some nice sectionals. And whilst you're going to need a lot of luck to win this race, because obviously the run of the race will ultimately decide the winner, Zarzini's priced at a ridiculous 9 to 4, 5 to 2, and I think that's too short, because that's going to be coming in from a similar position as my selection, which will be held up, and I'm getting 9 to 1 a pleasure with Paddy Power, so I thought that was much better value. I didn't think there was a lot between these, if I'm honest. Exalted Angel is the class angle, so I can understand people liking that. But Asad Jamira for me, 1 point win at 9 to 1 to hopefully kickstart my weekend off a lot better than it has been in recent weeks. Right, over to the two champs. Nev, I'm coming to you for your third best bet, please.
Okay, well, my least of my three best bets is in the 140 at Navan, and it looks like a 3-horse race on paper, and it's the probable third favourite that I'm going for, Haribo Kalonge, who has had the least experience of the fancied horses, and he ran a really promising debut when finishing 6th, beaten around 10 lengths, and the form of that Novices hurdle, I calculated that he's probably run to around 114, which is pretty good for your debut on heavy ground. The form of the two principals that will likely be ahead of him in the market have also run to a similar mark, but this horse, it was an unraced 5-year-old going into its debut, and obviously he was unraced going into his debut, and he only needs to make small improvement to win. I think the form of the race looks okay. Music of Tara had won a point to point, and that finished third. It was only just in front of it, and there was the second horse, Hemlock, had good form going into the race. I think it'll be the value bet. I've no idea how they're betting on it, but the Racing Post, I've just looked at their betting forecast, it's 5 to 1. If it was 5 to 1, I'd say it was a steal. But that's going to be my third best bet, because I do think that the two in front of it in the market are beatable.
Well, I'm going to disappoint you, because it's very early days, but only Paddy Power Betfair have opened up on this at the time of recording, and they're only 13 to 8 now.
Oh, well, I apologise for that, but
but I reckon what we'll do is we'll put you down when they've all opened up later. We'll give you the settled market price.
That's 150% book though.
Yeah, they bet 13 to 8, 15 to 8. I mean, it's Highland novice hurdles. I mean, you're playing with the Irish gypsies. I mean, it's a difficult game. It's a difficult game if you're a bookmaker. Ask Anthony Kamiskas, who's on-course bookmaker, professional punter turned on-course bookmaker, and he's finding life. He's a shrewd fella, and he's still finding life quite hard as an on-course bookmaker. So who'd be a bookmaker in these affairs when Neville Ender wants to dip his toes into the water on Haribo Kalonge?
I'll take 5s now then. Go on. If it goes out, I'll take my medicine.
We need the old Love Bet back. The old Love Bet online betting service, when they used to offer their crazy prices back in the day. We need Love Bet back to just give Neville some 5s about Haribo Kalonge. Good selection, Nev. On to you, Quentin, for your third best.
My third best bet comes in the 8 o'clock at Kempton. Doesn't really look a deep 0 to 60, and I want to back Mitigator here. He caught the eye in his first start for Patrick Leach at Wolverhampton. Couple of starts back, that was. He travelled well just behind the leaders and ended up being forced wide on the home bend. That race itself, strong on the clock, and the winner that day, Almafi's now £16 higher. The 4-4 fees of Lachiko's favourite for the Lingfield opener, I think, is £11 higher, and he comes here £3 below the mark where he showed up well there for. They ran him at Chelmsford, blinkers are off, cheek pieces are on, he got barged and bumped around. It's kind of a race to put a line through. Trips and nagging doubt, but the way he saw things out at Wolverhampton, I thought it's well worth a try. Looks to be a bit of pace on. Tyler Hurd I like as a jockey. So nice draw to stalk, hopefully Victory Star. He looks to overprice one with the blinkers back on.
Good stuff. So Mitigator, Tyler Hurd. young £3 claimer who certainly made giant strides last year, and I'm certain that he'll do quite well with his 3 this year as well. Looking at the prices on the board, it's a nice 10-1 with William Hill. Quentin, juicy that. Lovely. 1 point win at Maggie's Den, number 10, John.
Shut up.
I knew that'd upset you. Right, so that's the worst bets of the weekend, which if me and John, all three are usually the worst. So I'll start the round this time with second best bets, and it's an attempt really to be able to try and catch, and a bit of sport to try and catch Quentin and Neville in the table. And I'm going for a bit left field in the 150 at Sandown, very competitive. Novices handicap hurdle final there. Nappers Hill heads the card at 4-1, but I'm going to go for Venetia at 25-1 with Georgia Saint for a 2-point win bet on the nose. Venetia has a tremendous record first time off the wind up. Anyone that does the stats will see whatever wind doctor she uses. It's like Dr. Kananga, John. Except he blows up, doesn't he? Yeah, but I mean, Georgia Saint has travelled supremely well in his 2 races to date, in this country. And I did like the way he travelled on both starts, looked after by Charlie Deutsch on both occasions, as if to say neither was the target, really. So they've got his win tightened up. And then, who knows? It's a bit of a stab, and I admit that. It could be one of these where it's just totally out of its ground. You've got the likes of Nappers Hill in here that ran okay in the Betfair and probably will appreciate the step up in trip, etc. And, I might be batting out of my league here, but at 25-1, I thought it was worth an interest, and obviously for Nap's table and sporting purposes, to try and catch Quentin and Neville. 2 points win at the 25-1 mark. So I will split the best up, and I'll come to you, Quentin, for your second best, please.
My second best bet comes in the 316 even at Wolverhampton. Someone said on Sunday's podcast that they avoid backing Charlie Hill's horses, and truth be told, I've been in that camp ever since he told me it was hard to make all around Lingfield off of steady fractions. But I'm gonna buck the trend. I'm gonna tip up his Culern here. They tried him highly last year. They stuck him in a Glorious Goodwood Maiden, and then he went to Convivial, and they dropped him out. He pulled like stink and didn't really get home. But he looks the type to make a 3-year-old. And on his last start at Thirsk, they sensibly, given his free-going nature, they bounced him out. He settled a little better in front and ended up pulling clear with the 90-rated O'Herbert's Reign. I like the all-weather angle with him, the free-going nature. He's by Footsteps in the Sand, who has a good record on Peter. It doesn't really look a deep novice. Native Angels drawn wide, has had the trainer switch, but she disappointed last time out. Take a Stand's got the blinkers on. He looked tricky hanging left at Kempton. How impressive. Tail swisher. The choir boys on the Bowie first timer, hurrah. And apart from that, there doesn't look much depth to it despite the numbers. The yard have a decent record in maidens and novices off a 6-month plus breaks, and I think he's the one to beat, to be honest.
Yeah, I can remember when he did run at Thirsk, he gave me the fright of my life because he obviously did a lot wrong, and missed the kick. It wasn't the ideal race for him. He did everything wrong basically, and I'd laid him, at hefty prices really in running. I didn't think he could win, and he gave me the fright of my life in the closing stages. So yeah, I don't mind that at all, Quentin. So have you looked at the market, see what prices we're looking at? I can see 11-4 across the board. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, 11-4. 11-4 is fine. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. 2 points win then, Quentin, for you at 11-4. Culern, good luck with that. Neville, your second best, please.
Well, I'm going to go for one on the flat, would you believe? Because I was really impressed by one of Roger Varian's that won at Wolverhampton in the first week of last month, a horse called Seven Pockets, who is by Frankel out of a champion Japanese mare called Vodka, and it's not in the same original ownership as when it first went through the ring, and it's now owned by Roger Varian's wife, and they ran it at Wolverhampton over 9.5 furlongs, and it looked like it needed at least that. It was running on really strongly and well on top at the end. The races worked out well. The second horse was Figures, who actually does reoppose, but that has got to find 2 3/4 lengths just to be the equal of Seven Pockets, who looks to have any amount of improvement in him. The fourth horse, incidentally, was called El Jad of Anthony Britton's, who has got a rating of around 63, 64, which would make Seven Pockets as form nothing special, and they're probably going to at some stage ruin his handicap mark, because he would look very, very interesting off a mid-70s mark. But I think this horse could be, I'm not saying he will be, but he could be listed or even better class than this. He's a big scopy horse. It looks like it could be an above average. It's not a novice race, it's a conditions race, isn't it? But it looks like a novice race, really. There's a really well-bred horse of Marco Bottis called Saigon, who could be anything. That's also a Frankel out of a champion race mare. But they've already gelded this one, which would worry me. And also, it's making its debut with a wind operation. I think Seven Pockets could be a really good horse. I am concerned, and I don't know very little about Jefferson Smith, who rides. I did see he's had 47 rides since he's been riding in this country, and he's had 4 winners. But I think this horse looks potentially well above average. And the fact that Roger Varian wanted to keep it when the original owner lost patience, and they've kept him as a full horse as well, suggests that he could be pretty good. Seven Pockets, 6 o'clock at Kempton. He won't be a great price, but I think I don't want to miss him. I don't want him to go without him being in my first 3 selections. So he's my 2-pointer, Seven Pockets.
No, good stuff. I can tell you a little bit more about him. They rate him very highly at home. The message was last time that he doesn't like the stalls, and he kind of misses it all the time, which put me off backing him last time. You know, with the strong, I knew how good he was, because they were saying, you know, this is a really nice horse, but does miss it quite badly. But however, the 1.3 at Kempton is a much better proposition, I think, with the longer straight. You know, like to even shine further. Obviously, he's beaten Figures already. Like you said, 5 to 4 is the price, but I do think that's probably a good price. Jefferson Smith rides a lot of the top horses there at home, so he's held in quite high regard by the Varian lot. And Seven Pockets, I think you're right, Nev. I think your nous and your sniffing on that one is quite good, because Seven Pockets, they do rate quite highly. So good selection, Neville, and I hope that does the business. 2 points at 5 to 4 for Neville. 7 Pockets, 6 o'clock Kempton, under the South African Jefferson Smith. John, your second.
Cast your minds back, dear listeners, to the 22nd of January.
Was it doom? Was it?
You know, the darker days, toasted cheese suppers on the cold nights, days of gas bills that were less than a monkey a quarter. And we were all heartily pissed off when Bromley Law failed to oblige on its final start for Kevin Ryan. Thanks in some part to the ineptitude of one Shane Kelly, who rode the horse that day. Then the horse went off to the sales and was picked up by Ironside for Scott Dixon. They've had 2 sighters with this. We've gone from 75 to 69 now. I can't think you could possibly want much more off. The betting suggests he probably does want another 5 off. But I'm going to have to go with this again tomorrow. Well capable of winning off this mark. Better jockey up this time. He's gone to the bother of putting Jack Dern up. I just think 20 to 1 is value. It may not be off. I'm chancing it at the price.
Okie dokie, Sir Broomy Law. Horse you've gone to bed with for a long time now. This is in the 351 at Wolves. Jack Dern in the saddle. John, have you seen any prices?
20 to 1.
20s. I'm just gonna check on my scanner. Yes, you can have 20s. Are you going each way or on the nose?
Well, Norman's not here, so I'm going to be a wanker.
1 point each way for John at the 20 to 1, and we'll give him the 4 pegs as well. We'll give him the Richmond extra pegs. You know, the 4 places, 5th odds, Coral and Skybet for John for his 20s. Okie dokie. We'll move on to our best bets now, and I'll kick off because I've got the least interesting one. I can just about guarantee it. This is the one. Basically, I was doing some sort of like stats work this winter really, and finding out who the it guys are, and you know, this season it always seems to have been around Donald McCain, Venetia Williams, and Milton Harris in terms of strike rates. They've got great feed and great carrots and good bedding, and there's not a better bumper mare that I've seen this side of the Irish Sea that's better than Mullenbeg, and I would take the 11 to 8 that Mullenbeg wins this. I think 11 to 8 is actually a good price. I think she's a very, very good mare. She's shown it already that she is, and literally, I know it's. I'm not tipping up anything of great note here. 11 to 8, but Mullenbeg for me is my best bet. I just can't have a beat in this. She's been deliberately steered here. She could have run in the champion bumper, but the trainer said, no, this is the right race. I believe this is the case as well. I think she hacks up, and 11 to 8, fill your boots. That's the Saturday banker from me, hopefully to do the biz. Okay, I'll come to you, Quentin, for your best bet of the weekend.
My best bet of the weekend comes in the 426 at Wolverhampton, and I like Robasta here. He was highly tried as a 2-year-old for Andrew Balding. Switch yards to Dave Loft name for 44,000. I still think there's a bit more to come from him, though. He often travelled well in his races. Occasionally didn't see things out. I'm hoping the gelding and the Windop does the trick in that regard. It's back on the all-weather, and his sole all-weather start didn't work out badly at all. He had the benefit of experience that day, but he finished ahead of Fearby, who's 100+ rated, and then the Middle Park winner, Perfect Power. It's 7 furlongs here. He's had 2 starts over 7. I kind of think things went wrong. He was 3 deep at Goodwood and covered extra ground on soft ground, got hampered and bumped around in the closing stages. And then at Newmarket, he was kind of semi-marooned in the middle of the track. He went through that race well. He traded levels in the run. Back on the all-weather, he's got the form in the book based on his all-weather numbers. The way he saw things out at Ascot when winning over a stiff 6 suggests the 7 will be fine. It doesn't really look a deep race at all. You've got question marks about Diva's Boy, who had the run of things at Newcastle. Amanda's Hug and Kiss, I don't particularly like that form. Botty's, who's probably the rightful favourite, is the danger. Galileo Glass needs a mile. Leopold Bloom, the stablemate, got the run of things on debut at Thirsk and seems to have been overrated by the handicapper. I'm surprised 13 to 2 6 is kicking about, and it's my best bet of the weekend. Yes, that's a very good case indeed. 44,000 guineas they went for at the sales to claim it from previous owners, formerly trained by Andrew Balding. Comes in with a tongue tie first time from a yard I do like the David Loughnane yard. Russell Ryan in the saddle, and 13 to 2 is available at the time of recording with William Hill, and that is Quentin's 3 point on the snout best bet of the weekend in the 426 at Wolves. Thank you, Quentin. On to you, John, for your super duper max bet.
Super duper max bet, yeah? Well, no pressure there then.
Come on.
It's actually in the 205 at Wolves, the Lincoln Trail. I'm just getting a bit of practice in for the Lincoln at losing money. Lati Hattie, for me, is an opposable favourite. I think I might make it a bit of a thing this year to tend to oppose anything that has Safi up for the first time. I'll risk the wrath of Daddy by saying that. But, you know, we've all got to have something to amuse us. And I think I'm going to rock with that. The one I like in the race is Notre Belle Betty, having the second start for Andrew Baldwin. This one's mark came crashing down in Ireland last year, came down from 103 to 92 and then 87 for God's sake. Baldwin could be just the man to get this back on an even keel for me. Won very easily last time. Indicated there could be a lot more to come. I think he could actually get this back up towards 100. And I think despite the draw, this is quite a decent value bet at 10 to 1. Again, in the absence of Mr. Norman, I'll be an absolute wanker about it. I'll go 1.5 points each way.
He'll be listening, and it's 4 places across the board as well at 10 to 1.
Yours, Norman.
Some Notre Belle Betty. I mean, to be fair, I mean, he's probably a little bit unexposed over here because obviously you don't get to see the true worth being tens on, on your stable debut. So you just don't know really what. And I've seen Joseph O'Brien's horses improve. I mean, Nigel Tinkler did well with a couple of Joseph O'Brien horses. So it's not a stable really that I'd be worried about trying to get improvement out of. So yeah, interesting selection. Notre Belle Betty for John. Best bet of the weekend there. 1.5 each way at tens. Neville finishes off with a special.
Well, all my selections this week have been either favourite or second favourite, and I'm not going to give you anything exceptional for my NAF, but I really am keen in the. It's a fantastic race, this National Hunt Novices Handicap Hurdle at Sandown, because it's full of horses for the future. And all these horses have never run on the flat. They're all National Hunt breds. They're all, or most of them are fairly unexposed because it's generally their first season in training. And the top weight, Nappers Hill, for me, is a possible grade 1 or at least grade 2 horse in waiting. And although he's giving weight to everything, his mark of 135, I think, will be higher come the end of the season. I'm surprised they haven't really targeted something at Cheltenham with him. Maybe something like the Martin Pipe or the Coral Cup, something like that. But they've ignored Cheltenham. They've gone for this race against fellow novices. He ran in the Betfair hurdle last time and almost certainly found the 2 miles too sharp. And it wasn't a bad effort. He got beat little over 6 lengths. The form of that race is, as you would expect, is working out well. Royam Umani came out and franked the form, and there's been another one that's come out and run well subsequently. And to be beaten only 6 lengths in the most valuable handicap hurdle run this season so far as a novice, I think it was a fair effort. I've just noticed the Racing Post had him running above his mark that afternoon. He will definitely improve the step up in trip. There's no two ways about that. He's the best bumper horse in the last 5 years that Paul Nicholls has had, and I think he's a real class act. I know he's only going to be 4 to 1 or thereabouts, but there are a lot worse 4 to 1 chances than you'll back next week than this one. I think he's got a great chance. Nappers Hill's my nap of the weekend.
Can't knock that all. Obviously, going against my speculative choice, but I did mention that the same as you, that I do think the horse is ready for a step up in trip. I think he needs it, and I think he'll shine for it. And I think Paul Nicholls been shrewd again, because I've always commented on the Cheltenham handicaps and the fascination of winning a Cheltenham handicap at the festival. When, for example, I'm doing this off my head, but I think the Martin Pipe is 56,000 to the winner. Well, this is 45,000 to the winner, and you're not having to take on, probably a lot more competitive fare. So I think it's a very good place in Nev, and I can't knock your choice for doing so, because he's a very, very good horse and rightful at the top of the market, and Nev likes the fours as well, and I can't knock that selection. So
just very quickly, just one other thing that really convinced me that it was fairly well handicapped is it's run prior to the Betfair. He finished third to John Bon, who potentially could be the best novice we've seen. We'll know next week. The second horse was Colonel Mustard. The fourth was LS Bell of Dan Skelton's, and the fifth was I Like to Move It. His form in defeat is rock solid. I don't think there are any negatives for this horse, but 4-1 in a field of unexposed horses is probably not value. But and gambling is all about value, and so you would back if your selection was underpriced and there was something that you liked that was overpriced. I'm sure, like me, you would go for the one that was overpriced, because it's all about price, isn't it? Is gambling. I think he's probably underpriced. I don't think 4-1 represents his fair chance, but I do like his form. I think he's a class act. I think he could be grade 2 or grade 1.
Well, Ned, you're doing yourself down 4-1. If you're thinking that 4-1 could be good here, because I genuinely don't. Whilst I do think there are progressive types in here, I don't think it's the most amazing race I've ever seen for the money. So, I mean, certainly not.
Winning post right this year. This was the race, wasn't it, where they got the winning post wrong at Sandown?
Yeah.
Was it with Kristen Davis's horse?
Yeah.
And then they had one winning post, didn't they, after that?
Yeah. So, look, fingers crossed. It's a good choice. Anyone want to add anything to that? No, right. We'll move on swiftly to the previews of all the races now. You've had our best bets for the weekend, and we hope you fare well in your choices, and certainly listen to the arguments and reasons put forward. And then you can make your own decisions on what you'd like to back. But now we'll cover the races in a little bit more depth. And we'll go to Sandown first, and obviously back to the 150 at Sandown, where I've had a tip, Neville's had a tip. So what about you two, Quentin and John? Have you any views on the Novices handicap?
I was with Neville, to be honest. Napper's Hill step up in trip's going to suit. It's a downgrade in terms of quality from the Betfair down to this. Better than the bare result, covered extra ground out wide. I thought the fours was fair, to be honest. It's got, 11-2 this morning, 5. I still think the fours is fair, and I think it's overs. That would be the one for me in the race.
Yep, no, I can't fault that. I do think 4. I don't think it starts 4s anyway. I think Nappers will probably go off around the 5-2 mark is my prediction, much to Nev's disgust. John, any thoughts on this?
I think there's a couple of dangerous lurkers here that I might chuck a tenner a pace at. Mumbo Jumbo, I think that one's overpriced, given he's hopefully getting the crack under slightly less testing conditions than last time. He's going to be tired at the end. He went off 11-8 that day. I don't see why it should be such a big price today. And also an interesting one is Jet Plane. It must have at least the same chance as Dubrovnik Harry for me. Well, that one's 9-1. Jet Plane's a massive price. And if you look at a line through 11, the revised weights, you'd say, I know Dubrovnik Harry's only run 3 times, but I think they should be finishing somewhere near each other tomorrow. And 9-1 against, I think it's 40s, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that, because I did watch that race back a couple of times, actually. And Jet Plane was on the really unfavoured inside. Everyone knows at Leicester, soft ground on the hurdles track, you don't really want to be stuck to the far rail. Well, Dan Skelton made sure that that must have been the tactics to Harry. Stick to that far rail, because there's no way you'd do that. And so yeah, so I think you've got maybe possibly something in that. You know, that it did catch my eye. But I do think jet plane's better than 117, but I also think, but like you say, it's all about price. You're getting a nice price. This, completely agree, and it's same with my selection as well. You know, it's a stab in the dark against a horse like Napper's Hill, which, you know, from a class angle, you know, they might struggle to overcome. But it's a good shout, John.
It's all about choice, isn't it? You know, you either have a monkey on there, so he took a roast Jenner at one of it.
Caitlyn Jenner now, John. It's Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, right up.
Anyway, that's for a different podcast. 225 Sandown, the Imperial Cup, I thought was a competitive affair, but I did think was quite lacking in depth. I see none of us have tipped anything up in the Imperial Cup. I'd like to come to Neville first, please. What you thought of the Imperial Cup? Anything sort of interesting there?
I do think it lacks quality in terms of maybe from 10 years ago when the Gasparas and Colonel, I can't remember his name, of Martin Pipes won it. It's wide open. I did try very hard to fancy something that I could say was definitely going to be thereabouts. And the only horse I could come up with who is progressive and who is possibly still improving is Tom Simmons' horse, History Bear, who has shown improved form the last twice, both with the fitting of a tongue tie, and that could be the key. It might not be. It might just be coincidental. But he won at Fontwell in probably a moderate rate of 123, then followed by finishing third in a really good handicap hurdle at Cheltenham off 128. I didn't think he jumped particularly well at Cheltenham, and maybe he found the ground too fast that day. It was officially good. It's going to be slower tomorrow, which will suit him. All right, he's £2 higher now, but it was a good race at Cheltenham. Cormier is a very good horse, a very tough horse. He ran that to a length and a quarter. I think he's got a good chance in a wide open race.
Yeah, he caught my eye. History Bear was a long way back at Cheltenham, turning in.
I think he got him in trouble.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of ability, this horse, a lot of hidden ability. And
Quentin doesn't tip this.
but yeah, so I just thought, yeah, that was an interesting choice, Nev. That's one that caught my eye. Balco Coastal's got the good novice form, very hard to knock. In terms of, it beat Frere Darms. It was second to North Lodge, probably got a little bit outstayed by North Lodge, outgrinded. You can't knock the mark for Balco Coastal, so you can see why it's favourite. But I'd rather, at the prices, I'd rather be on Napper's Hill at 4-1 in the novice handicap than say 100-30 or 7-2 Balco Coastal for this. Quentin, John?
History Bear for me.
Yeah, I like a History Bear for me.
Yes, but the thing is, I was looking at this earlier in the week, and I thought this has the look as though it's been kept for this. And I'm looking at the comments now in the Racing Post, and Simmons has said, we asked him questions going from Fontwell to Cheltenham, and he answered them well. It's another step up in grade, but he has the right profile. We've protected his mark for this race, and I've enjoyed a nice clear run with him from Cheltenham. I think this is going to be very hard to beat.
This could be the gamble. It could be a massive gamble. It's still entered in the Martin Pipe.
The
big double.
Is there a bonus this year?
No.
I'm not sure, actually.
No, there's no bonus.
No bonus.
You get a free ticket for the 5th day.
Nev, didn't used to be like Sunderland's used to do the bonus, didn't they? William Hill have done the bonus.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Martin Pipe, when it was about, did he do about 3 years running? Olympic something with the first one.
Olympian.
Yeah. Olympian.
Olympian, yeah, in yellow. Was it orange and black stripes?
Green hat.
Green cap, yeah. and then Gaspara did it.
Mm.
And did one just fail to do it 1 year? I think it won. Oh, it was that horse that ran in the Grand National, Blowing Wind, was it? Did that ever go at it?
Blowing Wind, yeah, I think it did.
I think but maybe they just got caught out too many times. And Skelton had to go at it last year with a horse that they won this race with, and then
Langerdan,
yeah.
Yeah, and that was second. Yeah. Last year. So yeah, so History Bear. What, Quentin? So are you liking History Bear?
No, it's current mood for me. Didn't mind the Chepstow effort back at 2. Fair on the clock. Second's gone in since, for all it was a bit of an egg and spoon race at Exeter. I thought she was overpriced a little. I'm hoping they don't go gun barrel from the front. Double figures appeals for me.
She will, won't she? Silly Izzy.
John, it's International Women's Week.
Yes, I know.
None of the above. Anyway, current mood for Quentin with Izzy Williams for Dad Evan at a nice price. But it's interesting that the three of us have come up with the same horse, really. Might have to have a few quid on that.
You're not far off sounding a klaxon there.
I know. I was thinking if Quentin had a tip History Bear, if Quentin had a stood forward, chest puffed out, and said History Bear, we would have sounded a klaxon. But so it's Quentin. So if it wins and pisses up, it's Quentin's fault why we haven't done a Bar Stewards special. Terrible. Quentin.
30 points on the nap.
Yeah, 30-point penalty on the nap table. 3 o'clock Sandown. We go to that national flat race that I've decided to tip a short price in. Mr. Obvious. You chaps, any views on the national flat?
Mullenberg point and shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. She has looked pretty good, hasn't she? She's looked like if she was trained by a Mullins or a Nichols, she'd probably be odds on.
Yeah.
Do I want to take 5 to 4 when most of the field have only ran a handful of times? No, I don't. But she looks. She's a pick on form, and she looks like she could be very good. She still held an entry in the Weatherby's bumper. I don't know the Cheltenham bumper, but I don't know whether they would even think about that. I suppose if something happened early doors, then they might reroute her to that. But I don't want to take 5 to 4 or like you said 11 to 8. You seem to you'd accept that. I couldn't back a horse at 5 to 4 when there were so many imponderables regarding the others. But she's the pick on form.
Quote from trainer Milton Harris. He says she's a different horse. She's a different horse now to when she went to Cheltenham. She's working much better than she's ever done. I'd be very optimistic. She's the best form we've had her. I'd suggest we'd finish 3rd or 4th if we'd have gone to Cheltenham, and that should have been enough to win this. There we go.
He does tend to be very optimistic about his horses.
Yes, he's a glass half full, is Milton, but certainly for 11 to 8 or 5 to 4 backers, if you're wanting that banker tomorrow, that could be the one. 3:35 at Sandown, the last on ITV4. It's the Paddy Power Novices Handicap chase. Not a very well. It's okay. It's quite a little competitive affair, but not really a classy affair. But any thoughts on this, chaps?
The one I thought was fairly treated was Paul Nicholls' Danny Kerwin, and he's not the typical Nicholls novice in as much as he's a 9-year-old now, but he's been lightly raced. He's had many injuries. He must have had many injuries because you can see there's a slash in his form figures every few runs. But I thought he jumped absolutely fantastically well at Wincanton last time out. He threw in some huge jumps, and he beat a good yardstick in Certainly Red. His chase mark of 132 is not insurmountable in a race that Dorking Lad has won in lesser grade, and I think has got a bit to find. Using Certainly Red as a yardstick, I felt as if Danny Kerwin had the beating of Killer Kane. I'm not keen on the other Nichols horse, Flick, Over You, and that's the one I came down with. I think he'll love jumping around Sandown, because Sandown's a real jumping course, and you have to get yourself into a rhythm with those 7 fences down the back.
Good stuff. So
it's not a typical Nichols novice as being a 9-year-old, but I think there isn't that many miles on the clock, so I'm going to go with Danny Kerwin.
good stuff. Chaps, anything in this that took your eye?
I'm putting my box set and Mrs. Brown's boys on while this is running.
Is the patty on the plate, John? Are you letting the dog in?
I'm applying it with a trowel, and the dog will be over to the settee within about 3 bounds.
Quentin.
I wanted to pose Venetia's Sandown. They got 5 mil today. He's calling it good to soft, good in places. Seems a soup monster, that one. Danny Kerwin, I'm not sure is the heartiest. He's a Scorpion who had soft leads. I'm not sure he's going to put it in when it comes to the crunch. I've yet to kind of nail it down, but they're the two I want to be against. There's only 4 more running, so I'm sure I'll get there sooner rather than later. But I want to oppose Danny Kerwin and Frenchie Dularge.
Yep, I agree with the sentiments. Tricky race for me, so I'm sitting this one out. We move down to the flat to cover the 3 TV races at Wolverhampton on the road to Doncaster. We switch codes now, and the first one is a very competitive affair. The 131 I've tipped in. Quentin, I'll come to you first on your opinion on this.
I was like you. I kind of wanted to oppose the top end of the market. Zarzini didn't really do it for me. He's short price, but he does things wrong. He kind of slow away last time at Southall and was in behind the winner that they hung. And I don't particularly like him at 9-4, 5-2. As a Jamira, I can see the case for good times on the clock, improving. Anyone can improve them from Burrows, but there was 2 I liked, and the prices seem to be coming in. Mighty Gurkha, he's got the kind of makeup of a 2-year-old sprinter, goes missing at 3, comes back at 4. Dropped in the weights, he's got strong all-weather form, a couple of numbers on the clock that should see him go close here. The other one I liked it more when it was 20s, 16, 14s, was Full Authority. Maybe dead inside, given they picked up for 7,000. But Jane Chapelheim, she's got a really good record with stable switchers. Some big efforts on the clock on the all-weather that make this mark look within reach. And they would be the 2 for me. There looks to be a gallop on as well, with a few leaders on there.
That's an interesting call, actually. The Chapelheim factor is quite, like you said, there could be a risk with the horse that it's dead or it's got some physical problems, but like you said, the stable Chapelheim is just immense. That is interesting at a big price. Yeah, that's good. John, anything for you in this, Neville?
Completely uninteresting fact about the owner of Full Authority. She used to own a house with Geoffrey Ragg called Lover's Parlour, that I spent about 3 weeks lopping poultices on her feet and taking them off and replacing them with other poultices.
Were you a horse chiropodist?
And then she won, and I never got so much as a drink from Mrs. Morris. So thank you, Dave.
Right. If this was an 18 rated show, that would have some S and J's in it.
I actually like Mighty Gurkha. Yeah.
What a story. Yeah. Wow. So John's not cheering Full Authority on for the owners.
Well, I don't care if it wins, but I know I won't be getting a drink if it does.
Brilliant, love it. Neville, anything here?
I think it's a horrible race, really. Whittle the Woods has been improved, hasn't it, since it's gone to Michael Appleby. But is it really capable of winning a handicap where it's a 0-105 handicap? I don't think so. So
No, I don't.
I'd be looking to be taking that on. I don't think he's genuine anyway. So maybe lay him a place, Whittle the Woods.
Yeah.
It's not really my type of race.
No. So 205, the Lincoln Trail Handicap. I felt Letty Harty might struggle because of the draw mainly. I thought 12's
Safi.
It's a tricky purse for Safi, this, because you've really got to get this right. If you drop in too much, you've lost too much ground, and if you go forwards and you don't get that nice slot in, you end up 46 wide.
Get your tweets ready tomorrow, you South backers. I want to say really topping it tomorrow.
But we've covered. I mean, the four of us have covered the racing quite well, I think. And I think when you take in a price that Letty Harty is, I mean, she's got an obvious talent. I mean, no one's sort of denying that. But it's 5-2. Can we find something at 5-2 that's better value? I'd say yes. In terms of you're going to rely on getting a really nice trip for like Letty Harty to make your 5-2 worthwhile. So I think that's where I stand on the race. I found your selection interesting, John. Like to a degree. I'm not saying that's not beyond the realms of possibility at 10-1. I backed a feet Lane at Lingfield a couple of weeks ago, and he did it nicely. But it's one of those. I think it comes down to the run of the race. Quentin, what do you think?
I started with one of the opposed Letty Harty. Well, everything you've mentioned. David Egan was jocked up, and I didn't mind that at the start of the week. And then I think it was Wednesday they put Safi on board, and you're like, oh well.
Yeah.
Then you're drawn 12 as well. You said you end up posted, but it's not a. He's a grinder. He's not a horse that's got push button acceleration. He's got a nice long stride, and he takes a while to get going. I think John put up the Ed Walker horse, Her Feet Lane at Lingfield last time. Yeah, I was impressed with that win. Came off steady fractions, quick and clear. What did he go up 4? I think it was value for a good deal more than a winning margin. He's got a £7 swing with the Jolly from when they ran 2 or 3 starts back at Kempton. I'd probably play him at 5. So I think 5 is fair, given he can quicken off of the pace, and he seems to have that push button acceleration. That would be my play in the race. I think 5 is fair. I can see Letty Harty taking a walk in the market.
Fair shout. John, anything to add to that?
No, well, I've gone for Nutriville Betty, and that's
yeah. I just wondered, because you did put up Half-Eater Lane.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't knock the horse's chance at all. I just think the other one's a bit better value at 10s.
No, good stuff. Neville?
I would want to take on Letty Harty. I think if you just look at the card and you see he's got 4 1s next to him, you think, well, he's going to be a class horse. But if running off 104, to win off 104, you have to be around 109, because you can assume, can't you, that the winner's going to go up £5, because this is a good race. The third or even the 4th horses are going to run to form. So let's say is he a 109 horse? I don't think he is. He's gone up £9 for his last win. I'm clueless as to what can win it. I've no idea at all. But I would happily lay Letty Harty. If I could lay it 2-1, I'd happily lay that. That's just my input on the race.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's well handicapped. Like, I've no doubt he's the best handicapped horse in the race. It's just race circumstances I don't think are going to play to anything like he needs. I'm surprised they didn't go to the Lincoln, to be honest. Like, you're off 104, nice straight galloping track, and why fuck around trying to pick up this pot? Like, I'm pretty sure he's group horse.
Good shout, Quentin. And Nev, 240 will finish. This is our last race, the Wulfruna. Another very tricky affair, 7 furlong listed affair. Very competitive. I was struggling here because this is the kind of race I would have liked for Highfield Princess, because I like the fact that the fillies get the full allowance, they get the £5, and I like the fact that it's a course that obviously suits, like handy runners, and Highfield Princess would have fitted that bill. And I know that she needed the run at Chelmsford, but I would want. I don't know. I was a bit disappointed with her at Chelmsford. I'm not sure she's quite ready to take advantage yet. Any thoughts here, chaps?
Well,
Go on now.
I'll just very, very quickly. Misty Grey is a very tough, consistent filly, and she had to try and give all that way £11 to Lati Hattie last time out, and she finished clear of the others. Well, she finished just in front of the others. She's the most solid one. I desperately wanted to be with Highfield Princess, but like you say, she ran to probably. I don't think she even ran to 80 last time out. So
no.
She has to find some improvement. And when horses are so heavily campaigned in one season and they've done so much improving, it's very hard for them to return to that level, I feel. I don't think she'll win it, Highfield Princess. I think she's done all the winning last year. What Chapelheim's done with the bottom one, International Angel, is phenomenal, because this horse wasn't in a bad yard. It was with Richard Fye at one stage. Can she make the jump up from handicap to listed? It's not impossible, is it?
No.
Good race. It's very good.
A tip for Quentin's other mention then. Like she's improved one of improved one of Richard Fay's, and obviously the other ones come from Richard Fay that Quentin mentioned. Is that the tip in itself earlier? Just sorry to digress, but yeah, interesting. Quentin.
It's hard, isn't it? Happy Bowers never raced on the all-weather. Did too much over in the desert. The Highfield Princess, it was so below form as well. It's like she's got that Chelmsford form that puts her right in the mix here, but it was so far below form. Tinker Toy was interesting. Big figure at, when was it, Lingfield? Last time out. I think he's probably a shade overpriced, where there's doubts towards the top of the market. If I had to, I'm not gonna have a bet in the race. It would either be the French one, conceding £3, or Tinker Toy at a price. But I just found it trappy, and there was a fair few question marks about them.
Yep, fair enough. John?
The form of the Quinniad puts me off Highfield Princess. There's not having many runners, but I don't think they're running very well. And I'd be inclined to have a little play on Tinker Toy. I was with this last time, and I kind of thought it should have won, but the carrying on with the programme as advised, really, they're going from the handicap to this. I have a hunch they maybe think it's a little bit better than it actually is, but I think 16-1 Sporting against some of these.
Lovely jubbly, yeah. Tinker Toy ran perfectly well last time. Thought maybe being a tad unlucky, but yeah, could have improvement. Thank you, chaps. I think that's been a great show. I think we've added some great insight and some good bets. Like I say, we're back on Monday for the Cheltenham sermon. So I hope you join us for then on Monday evening. It's around the 7:30 time. So that'll be time it goes up live, and hopefully it'll be a great week for us. I want to thank Neville Ender. I want to thank Quentin Franks, John Lang, and for this evening. It's been a great chat. Thank you, gentlemen. And hopefully it's a great weekend of betting for you all.
Right, the show's over, boys. Thank you very much.